The galaxy had always believed humans were quiet, weak, and unimportant. Their colonies were small, scattered across a few star systems. Their fleets were tiny, almost nothing compared to the massive armadas of alien empires. No one expected them to fight back. No one imagined humans could be dangerous. At the edge of the star cluster, an alien fleet moved with confidence. Thousands of warships glinted against the void, engines flaring, weapons ready. Their sensors detected the small human system ahead. "Pathetic," said the Dominion admiral. "Send a message. Demand surrender. Then destroy them." The alien ships advanced. They expected immediate resistance or at least a reply. But nothing came. Silence. The alien commanders frowned. "No response? Surely they are preparing some trick," one officer muttered. Inside the human system, Captain Cale Riven watched the approaching fleet. His flagship floated calmly among planets and asteroid belts. The human fleet was small, hidden in stealth. Nothing about it screamed danger. Yet Cale did not panic. His crew monitored every alien signal, every movement. "They think we are weak," he said quietly. "Let them keep thinking. That is their first mistake." The human ships did not move openly. They did not broadcast warnings. Sensors remained passive. Every energy signature, every life sign was carefully concealed. On the alien flagship, impatience grew. "Open communications." The admiral barked. "Send your fleet or face annihilation." The Dominion message went unanswered. "Unbelievable," another officer hissed. "They are silent?" "Completely silent." Cale smiled faintly. "Silence is louder than words," he said. The alien fleet moved closer, weapons hot. Engines flared like bright stars. They believed humans would panic. They believed humans would try to flee or at least fight back weakly. But humans did neither. Inside the flagship bridge, Cale's officers watched data streams. Every alien ship's course, every weapon system, every squadron movement was tracked, analyzed, and predicted. The humans were learning faster than the aliens could adapt. "Captain," said the chief engineer, "their fleet is massive. We are outnumbered by hundreds." Cale nodded. "Yes, but they think numbers are strength. Numbers mean nothing if the enemy does not understand you." The aliens prepared their first attack. Missiles lined up, lasers charged. The Dominion admiral grinned. "This will end quickly," he said. Cale leaned on the console, watching quietly. "Let them fire," he murmured. "Then they will see the first warning." The human fleet waited. Calm, silent, unmoving. Like shadows in the void. Outside, stars sparkled as if holding their breath. The galaxy watched. All those who underestimated humanity believed this would be an easy victory for the Dominion, but the first shock was coming, not from weapons, not from explosions, from silence. The aliens did not yet realize it, but the quiet patience of humans was deadly. Every move they made, every calculation they ignored, every assumption they held about weakness, it was all about to be shattered. Captain Cale Riven looked at the distant alien fleet. "They expected us to respond," he said quietly. "They expected a fight. But silence. Silence is the final warning." And in that calm, in that quiet, the galaxy began to sense something terrifying. Humans were not weak. They were dangerous, and no one had even seen the storm yet. The Dominion fleet advanced, confident and loud. Thousands of warships filled the void, engines roaring, weapons ready. "Destroy them quickly," the admiral commanded. "Show these humans their place." Missiles streaked through space, lasers arced toward the human system. But the humans did not panic. They did not scatter. They did not fire back. Instead, the human fleet moved with quiet precision. Ships adjusted their course slightly, barely visible, small shifts that were enough to avoid every attack. Missiles missed, beams curved harmlessly into space. On the Dominion flagship, officers shouted in disbelief. "They are dodging everything." One cried, "How is this possible? They predicted our attack." Another screamed out inside the human flagship. Captain Cale Riven watched the data streams flowing across the screens. "Let them feel the first warning," he said calmly. "They need to understand." An alien cruiser fired its main cannon. The beam should have obliterated a human scout. Instead, it curved away, harmless. The scout had moved just enough, almost as if it knew the attack before it happened. "Check the shields," whispered a young officer. "They are adapting faster than we calculated," replied the chief engineer. "Every hit is analyzed instantly. Systems adjust on the fly." The Dominion fleet tried again. This time, fighters swarmed the human ships, hoping to overwhelm them with numbers. But the humans anticipated every movement. Fighters spun out of formation, engines cut out, or veered harmlessly into empty space. On the alien flagship, the admiral's face turned red. "Stop them!" he shouted. "They cannot be doing this. We are the strongest fleet in this sector." "Captain," a human officer whispered, awe in her voice. "They are losing coordination. They don't know what to do." Cale nodded. "Exactly. This is the first warning. Observe, predict, and respond not with destruction, but with control. That is our strength." The Dominion officers tried to regroup. Orders were shouted, repeated, and ignored by their own fleets. Chaos spread. Cruisers collided, fighters spun out, engines overloaded. Impossible. An alien commander yelled, "They haven't fired a shot, and yet our fleet is collapsing." Cale walked slowly along the bridge. "Humans are patient," he said quietly. "We do not need to rush. We strike only when necessary, and when we do, the galaxy learns what silence really means." Across the stars, distant civilizations watched the strange battle. They had always underestimated humans, and now they began to whisper in awe. The Dominion fleet realized their first mistake, underestimating humans. They expected noise, chaos, and fight, but instead they found calm, control, and intelligence beyond their understanding. Cale smiled faintly. "The galaxy expected a human response," he said. "But silence. Silence is the first warning." And in the quiet void of space, the human fleet waited, ready for what would come next. The storm had not yet begun, but the first shock had already struck. The Dominion fleet was in chaos. Their mighty warships, which had ruled star systems for centuries, drifted powerless. Engines sputtered. Shields collapsed. Weapons froze mid-targeting. Communication lines were jammed. Panic spread through the command ranks like wildfire. "They are controlling us?" One alien officer whispered in disbelief. "They predicted every move," another said, shaking. On the human flagship, Captain Cale Riven stood calmly on the bridge. Around him, the crew worked methodically, monitoring every alien ship, every signal, every sensor reading, every possible maneuver. "They think they are attacking," Cale said quietly, "but they do not understand the hidden power we hold." Across the fleet, prototype human warships glowed softly, their systems humming in synchronization. These were no ordinary ships. Advanced AI, adaptive shields, experimental propulsion, they could think, predict, and respond faster than any alien fleet could hope. "Why did we build only a few of these?" a young officer asked, staring at the display of disabled alien ships. "Because one is enough," Cale replied. "One is enough to show the galaxy our strength." Alien cruisers attempted to regroup. Fighters swarmed again, hoping to overwhelm the humans with numbers. But the humans anticipated it. Missiles were redirected. Fighters slipped harmlessly through laser fire. Cruisers avoided collisions almost before the aliens fired. On the Dominion flagship, the Admiral slammed his fist on the console. "Stop them! How can this be? They haven't even fired a single shot." "They are observing," Cale said to his chief engineer. "Calculating, learning, controlling. Every one of their actions is anticipated." The Dominion fleet scrambled. Command signals failed. Orders arrived too late. Engines overloaded, shields collapsed, and fighters spun out of formation. Some cruisers collided with each other in the confusion. "They are everywhere at once," an alien officer muttered. "Impossible." Cale smiled faintly. "Not impossible, predictable, and that is the lesson they are about to learn." The humans had not yet fired. They did not need to. Their hidden power was strategy, intelligence, and timing. Every move the aliens made, the humans already knew. Every attack the aliens planned, the humans had already countered before it happened. "Captain," the young officer said, awe in her voice, "we could take every ship if we wanted to." Cale shook his head. "We do not need to destroy. Intelligence is stronger than brute force. This is how humanity wins without unnecessary death." Across the galaxy, observers watched in disbelief. Worlds that had dismissed humans as weak now whispered in awe. Aliens who had once laughed at humans now trembled. The Dominion admiral realized his mistake too late. "We misjudged them," he said quietly. "We underestimated their strength. Their intelligence." Cale nodded, looking at the stars. "Let them learn slowly. Let them understand what it means to underestimate humanity. The storm has not yet come, but soon they will see our full power." The hidden power of humans had been revealed. One small fleet, one quiet strategy, one patient mind enough to make the strongest empire in the galaxy rethink everything they knew about humanity. And the humans? They were only just beginning. The Dominion fleet floated in disarray. Once proud warships now drifted helplessly, engines failing, weapons offline, communication shattered. Panic consumed their command ranks. The galaxy had never seen such a thing. An enemy that could dismantle an empire without firing a single destructive shot. Captain Cale. Riven stood calmly on the bridge of the human flagship. The crew moved efficiently, monitoring every alien move, every signal, every pattern, every possible reaction. "Now," Cale said softly, "they will understand the final warning." The human fleet shifted subtly, prototype warships pulsing at the center. It was not brute force they were showing, yet their precision and control were undeniable. Alien ships faltered, fighters spun out of formation, cruisers collided, and engines overloaded. On the Dominion flagship, the Admiral's face turned red with disbelief. "Impossible! They haven't fired a shot, and yet we are falling apart." "They are everywhere at once," an officer muttered, staring at the displays. "Every move we make, they anticipate it." "How?" Cale walked slowly across the bridge. "It is simple," he said. "We learn. We calculate. We adapt. And we strike only when necessary." Then came the final, subtle attacks. Small, precise strikes disabled engines and weapons of key ships. Fighters were grounded. Cruisers floated powerless. The Dominion fleet had no choice but to surrender. Their pride shattered, their forces immobilized. The galaxy watched in awe. Worlds that had once mocked humans now whispered their respect. The Dominion fleet's surrender was broadcast across nearby systems. The humans had proven strength without destruction. On the human bridge, a young officer spoke in awe. "Captain, we could destroy them all. Why stop?" Cale shook his head. We do not need to destroy. Humans win with intelligence, patience, and strategy. That is our true power. The galaxy must respect that, not fear mindless violence. The Dominion Admiral transmitted his final message. His voice was subdued, but full of respect. Humanity, you are extraordinary. We surrender. We will never forget this day. Kale nodded. We fight only when forced. We protect life. But we are prepared for anything. Let this be your lesson. Underestimate humanity, and it will cost you. The prototype ships pulsed softly as if their mission were complete. They had demonstrated restraint, intelligence, and the power of thought over destruction. They had proven that humans were not weak, but also that they did not seek war out in the distance. Alien worlds began to reconsider their approach to humanity. Fear had turned to cautious respect. The galaxy had learned that silence, patience, and strategy were far deadlier than brute force. Kale turned to his crew. Remember this, he said quietly. Humans do not fight for glory. We fight to survive, to protect, and to teach the galaxy a lesson it will never forget. The storm had struck. The Dominion fleet had surrendered. The galaxy understood at last that humanity's silence was not weakness, it was the calm. Before a force even the strongest could not ignore. Final warning had been delivered, and the galaxy would never underestimate humans again. The Dominion fleet had surrendered. For the first time, humans had shown the galaxy their true power. Not through explosions or bloodshed, but through patience, intelligence, and perfect strategy. The galaxy had always underestimated them. Now it understood. On the human flagship, Captain Kale Riven watched the broken alien fleet. Engines offline. Weapons disabled. Command signals jammed. Pride shattered. They expected a reaction, Kale said quietly. They expected noise, fire, chaos. But there was only silence, the chief engineer replied, awe in his voice. The prototype warship pulsed gently at the center of the human fleet. Its mission had been complete. Not to destroy, but to teach. Not to conquer, but to demonstrate restraint and precision. Captain, a young officer asked, why did we build only one of these ships? Why not a fleet? Kale smiled faintly. Because one is enough. One is all it takes to prove that humans are not weak. One is all it takes to make the galaxy respect the silence of those who are dangerous. Across the stars, transmissions spread quickly. Civilizations that had mocked humans now whispered in awe. Alien empires that had assumed dominance now reconsidered. Silence had become a warning more powerful than any weapon. On the Dominion flagship, the Admiral sent a final message. His voice trembled with respect. We misjudged you, humanity. We underestimated your intelligence, patience, and power. We will never forget this day. Kale replied calmly, we fight only when forced. We value life. And we value strategy. Learn this. Humans are dangerous, but we choose our battles wisely. Underestimate us, and it will cost you everything. The human fleet slowly moved away from the conquered system. No lives had been lost. No planets had burned. Yet, the galaxy had learned a lesson it would never forget. The prototype ships pulsed one last time, their work done. They would be preserved, a reminder of humanity's ability to survive, adapt, and strike with precision. Nearby worlds watched silently, reconsidering every assumption they had ever made about humans. Fear had shifted into respect. Respect had shifted into caution. The galaxy now understood. Humans were not reckless. They did not seek war. But their silence, their intelligence, their patience, these were weapons more deadly than fleets or bombs. Kale turned to his crew. Remember this day, he said softly. It is not just a victory. It is a message. Silence can be stronger than fire, strategy stronger than numbers, and patience stronger than arrogance. The stars stretched endlessly ahead. Humanity had returned not to conquer, not to destroy, but to remind the galaxy that underestimating humans was the gravest mistake anyone could make. The storm had passed. The battle was over, but the galaxy would never forget the quiet, unstoppable force that had changed everything. The humans had won not with war, not with violence, but with thought, restraint, and the ultimate weapon, silence. And from that day forward, every species in the galaxy knew one truth. Humanity is dangerous in the right way and never to be underestimated.